Hi, it's Ian Dinwiddie from Inspiring Dads here. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that men talk about when we work together in terms of coaching. So I do a lot of one-to-one coaching. I also do some coaching programs, have some other products which I sell in terms of support and lots of freebies on our website. However, one of the things that I do is one-to-one coaching, and it is one of the things that has a great, really important impact. It gives me the warm and fuzzies when you help someone to guide them from where they are now into a new future. I love it, absolutely love it. One of the things that guys talk to me about is about being an active and present father, and often they position this in terms of contrast with their family growing up. I want to be, they say this is what I want to be the kind of dad I didn't have growing up. I want to be there. I want to be more involved. I don't want to be just a weekend father. And it's a really powerful message in terms of regret and role modeling and generational shift and generational change. I'm personally very, very lucky in that sense, is that my dad was a chartered surveyor. He worked for Bristol and West Building Society, and then later for Abbey National Santander, I think it was. But Bristol and West Building Society is what he did, and he was a chartered surveyor. And he had a car, and he had a car phone, when Car Phone Warehouse was the name of the shop that sold car phones. He had this big kind of brick thing with a curly with a curly sort of aerial. It pulled out the aerial and it was attached in. It was built in behind the handbrake. And it must be mid-late 80s, I guess. Kind of late 80s in particular, 87, 86 maybe. And he had this job which was on the road. He used to go to houses and he'd value them, and he would check that they're all okay for mortgage purposes largely. Okay, so he was mortgage valuer in rural Somerset. And one of the things that, looking back, that I'm particularly grateful for is that he was able to schedule his time to be there at sports matches. So my brother and I used to play on a Wednesday afternoon. We used to play rugby or hockey or cricket. On a Wednesday afternoon, my dad took the time to be there, and he'd drop in and he'd watch for a couple of hours, and then he'd head off to the next piece. And so what he was doing was being very, very flexible, and he was managing his own time, and he was using the technology that was available in terms of the car phone. So he would see a house and he'd phone in his report, and he'd phone it in so his secretary could type it all up. So that was done. And I was incredibly grateful. And so my brother and I, we had this active and involved dad in a way that for a lot of guys that I work with, they don't remember that. And it's a really important motivator, and it's a really important part of helping men to set up their lives in the best way possible, to balance work and fatherhood, and having those motivational points, and having someone to talk it through and understand what it is that's really important. And for a lot of guys, what's really important is to be the dad they didn't remember growing up.